We got two parties that have policy that is not indicative of what the populace wants. The American
Mhm.
people want something very, very different from what Republicans and Democrats are selling. Um, I'm still not with Kamala. She came out today talking about she's gonna fight for in her her campaign speech, the one after the Meg the Stallion one. Um, talking about how she's gonna fight for affordable health care. I don't want a motherfucker fighting for affordable health care. It's not a fucking fight. What does even affordable health care even look like? What the fuck you mean affordable? This shit is astronomically high, so you say, well, knock 10% off. No, we were,
Little
we
something,
were,
something for your troubles.
we are, we are not very far removed from Barack Obama's first campaign cycle running, 2008,
Hmm.
talking about universal health care. That's what we were. That was the fight we were engaging in. To be now at the point where we're no longer even mentioning it, we're saying we're going to fight for affordable health is wild. Like the ground we've given up in just the argument, just the rhetoric of the arguments that we're having is it's selling out the movement. It's selling out the people that are sitting here saying we want a thing. You're not giving it. You're not giving us anything.
Mm.
You're telling you what we
Definitely,
want.
mm, definitely agree with that. The idea of universal healthcare is not. It's not what we signed up for. It's not, especially once Bernie started throwing that. Yeah, hey, let's go ahead and get everybody in. We can do it. Once Bernie said it was possible, like, yeah, this is what we want. This is what it should be.
Yeah, yeah. But motherfuckers be on all their own type of time. We vote against our own interests all the time. Yeah, this is her press conference, campaign rally, or whatever. I think this is one where she said she the affordable. Go ahead and play it. I think this is what you're talking about. The affordable healthcare comment. I think.
A future with affordable health care, affordable child care, and paid leave. And we fight for a future with equal pay for women because we know when we lift up the economic status of women, we lift up the economic status of children, of families, and all of society benefits. We here work for a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead, to build a business, to own a home, and to build intergenerational wealth. We here see a future where we bring down the cost of living for hardworking Americans, which is why we are fighting to ban more of those hidden fees and surprise late charges that banks and other companies use to pad their profits,
Right
to
there,
take on corporate
profit.
landlords and cap rent increases, and take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. All of this to say, we are working to build up, not tear down, and to build up America's families and America's middle class. Because
How
we
long is
know
this? I
whenever
mean,
the
we got to
middle
keep
class
watching the
is
whole thing.
strong,
Mm.
America
All
is
right,
strong.
I'm with the shit she's campaigning for.
Yeah. Again, she's campaigning for affordable health care, affordable child care. Yeah, I don't like the way that shit. I don't like the way that shit sounded. Um, she just ain't gonna be about shit. She gonna be about the same shit that they've been about, which ain't been shit. She's not
Mm-hmm.
gonna do nothing that need to get done. She's gonna be a mouthpiece for these motherfuckers to keep the status quo going exactly how it's going.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like she's shaping up to be.
All right, and so Again, last week I asked you what would it take for you to for her to get your vote, and you said free healthcare, which she's definitely not on board for. And what were your other things?
Fighting against the monopolies, the oligarchies that are setting up in this country, fighting against the corporate landlords that she just mentioned, but not with a rent increase cap, but by having a forcible dissolution of these individuals from being able to hold on to the properties that they currently possess and prohibit them from purchasing more in the name of in the name of a corporation. If you really want to affect change in that realm, you can't just sit here and say, "Well, we only gonna let y'all uh, raise the rent up, but so much." Like, what metric are you going to be using to decide how far they can raise the rent? How much motherfuckers can afford before they die? Like, so I think that's what you're going to be using to qualify that particular number. You're going to say, well, we can't squeeze them any more than 11.5% per year. 12% per year. I know they put out that number that said, I think 5% or something like that. Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Um, they're gonna negotiate a number. If they do even agree to it, it's gonna be something that they agree to. And it's not gonna solve the problem that they're creating, which is they're circumventing individuals' ability to access the American dream. I can't buy a house because houses are too expensive because all these people own the houses. They're the ones that are selling them. They're also colluding with the individuals that are setting the market for the rates that I get a loan. So if they can keep the rates that I can get a loan with high, they keep the prices of the properties high. What can I do other than say, hey, you know what? I'll rent it. And because it's valued at such a high number, the rent is justified. So yeah, 4 grand for rent. It's okay. 6 grand for rent some places. It's okay. They're colluding to do it in front of us with the help of our government, and nobody standing up in front of them and saying no more. She's also one of those people that could say no more. Will she? She's not yet. You got corp. You can't buy cereal but from 3 motherfuckers. That should be a problem.
All right, all right, all right. Now, she does acknowledge that there is a problem with the well with just the pretty much the housing system as a whole. Now, the other side does not mention this at all. Does not speak upon this at all, and actually is against the caps, against um restructuring the way that housing is being charged for. How is it that not stopping that is more important? Well, isn't the number one objective?
Um, because it can be the number one objective, but it can't be the objective in the face of overall success of your goal. If my goal is one thing, I can't say I'm going to vote for the other person just because they're not you. Looking at what they want to do, just because it's not what you want to, just because you just because you're not trying to take all the skin off my arm, don't mean that you also not trying to torture me as well. You just trying to torture me in a less overtly painful way. Like you also gonna do something that's fucked up equally, or maybe 5% less. But am I really? You really want me to be sitting here choosing which punishment be in with one just being 5% less harmful than the other? Like, no, that's not do what the fuck you gonna do. I don't care what you do at this point. It's the couch, fam. I'm not making this decision. They're giving us these impossible choices,
They're
and
not
they setting
impossible.
it up,
They're
and they
fucking
set
horrible, but they're not impossible.
and they setting it up that it's gonna be perpetually the same choice every fucking year. Every year they're gonna give us a boogeyman, and every year they're gonna be able to provide a bigger, badder boogeyman. So every year we're gonna be forced to fight to vote with the motherfuckers who increasingly give us less and less and less of the shit we actually want. We actually gonna end up with the motherfucker that's the equivalent of the boogeyman that we were avoiding because this other motherfucker is just marching us to them, but slower. You get to the same spot just at a slower pace. That's not progress.
It's not progress. It's not. But no matter what, that boogeyman is gonna get worse and worse. So would you rather it get worse incrementally or exponentially?
Here's the thing about the worse and worse. You're telling me that what it's doing is the end of the world. So there is no worse it can do. There's no gradation of levels of bad it can be. And the problem they're going to run into, and that they've been running into, we've already experienced the boogeyman. We've already had him for 4 years and survived that in a pandemic. What the fuck else could happen? What confluence of circumstance could happen where the situation will be worse for him to be in charge of us and we wouldn't make it?
Nigga, when has that ever worked? When has saying I don't see how this could get any worse has ever been a good idea? What movie have you ever watched where it turned out well? They said that shit in Avengers and Thor came and fucking Ultron came out with 100,000 more robots.
Hey, yo, look, um, the
Saying
whole
I don't
movie
see
is
how it
built on that.
getting worse.
The whole movie's solution is built on that principle, fam. The fact that vision even exists is a testament to that mind state from the Mind Stone.
It's
That's why he exists. Am I wrong?
what, because of the villain?
He exists because they said what how much worse could it possibly we already have Ultron. What could
No,
we
no,
do
no,
worse?
no.
He
In a fight in a fight on Slovenia. I'm sorry, but when they were fighting, they had just beat the first wave of robots, and Thor was sitting there like, "Hey, is that all you got?" And Ultron was like, "No, this is all I got," and came out with 10,000 more fucking robots. Don't say how much worse can it get, or is that all you got? Because that is definitely not all they got, and it can get worse.
Oh, I'm just saying I gave you a scenario in which that it was just different. I'll give you another one if you don't want that. If you don't like that one. There's a movie called The Poseidon Adventure where a boat capsizes. Whole thing turns. It's a ship turns upside down. Right? They got to escape. You know, some things they had to do to escape. It got worse before it got better. Them motherfuckers had to go down deeper in the water to go around so they can get up so they can get safe. So it had to get worse for them before it got better.
But they didn't sit there and say, "Hey, I wonder how much worse it can get," because then
No,
it would have been octopuses.
they
I'm
said
telling you,
they
every
said
time a
that we
motherfucker say, I don't know how this can get much worse," or "It can't get much worse than this," it always gets fucking way worse.
that was the reason they moved from where they were to other places because they said it cannot be worse than this. We're already here. It can't get no worse. We got to go forward. That
And
was
it
the
got
mind
worse.
state. It didn't get worse. It got better. They survived. Well, the ones that survived,
Exactly.
but they would have all been dead had they just waited there.
And so pretty soon their situation would have gotten worse.
If they'd have waited. Sometimes it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Sometimes it don't get no worse. Sometimes you didn't endure the worst of it, and it's absolutely nothing that motherfucker can do to fuck with you no more.
Just telling you, whenever you say it can't get no worse than this, it always gets way worse.
Hmm I don't know.